Hi, Kat here for Lightwave Digital. In this video, we're going to be doing something a little more sophisticated but fun as we work with Lightwave Flow to do a cake decoration that has a heart drawn on it because it's almost Valentine's Day. So let's go to Effects Tools and take a look at how this is set up. And first thing you're going to notice here right off the bat is I got two emitters in here, but I'm only displaying one in the actual list of the items in Flow. Um, this is a small bug that's in here. It's actually because I have a object that is a master null and then the sphere that's underneath of it. Now, Flow is actually aware of this item. So what we got to do, because we're working with parented objects, is go and add that item again. And you can see that it's already maintained all of the original settings that I had. So if I want to now, I can hit reset and run this. And we can see that the emitter for both is present in the scene, and we've got them both drawing out the shape of the fluid on the surface of our cake. And we get to about 250 frames. There's an envelope here on the enable for both of these that effectively turns the emitters off right around about 250 frames. So they stop working and basically the fluid is just left there to settle. So what does this look like when it's baked? Well, let's take a look. Let's go to reset, hit bake, and we'll hit run. Very cool stuff. A little bit of contact there from the two emitters. Fluid with the surface tension and the cohesion kind of attracting to each other. So they want to flow into each other. Which can be corrected if you need to. But for right now, we'll just get through this 250 frames. We can see this emitter turn off. And there we go. We've got a cake with a heart on it. All right, well, that's fine and dandy. What if we want to have the emitters have different colors? Now, what I mean by that is the flow will only emit with a object with everything that's being generated. It'll just generate one fluid object. So basically, these two emitters are effectively emitting one fluid object mesh per frame, and they're going to be the same color as whatever we designated in the surface editor for the fluid surface holder object. So in order to get two separate objects and also correct for this problem we've got here, we need to bake them separately. So let's kind of work through this in a second and see how it goes. But I want to open up the original scene for this and show you what happened when I worked with a different method of decorating this cake. And this was the original one that I started with. And this is just to explain a little bit of the limitations regarding this types of physics engine when working with certain types of scenes. So in this particular one, I had a setup where the cake actually did the rotation and not the object. Now that causes a problem because the surface is quite flat and there's no amount of friction or anything else that can be added to it that will cause the fluid to adhere to it and then maintain the direction in the rotation of the cake. So with this problem, we have to reverse the approach to get around it or go into Modeler and start modeling some edges to this mesh so that it can actually catch some of the fluid and do it that way. But we'll get better results by going the other direction, by reversing this problem. So let's go back to our original scene here and take a look at how this is set up. All right, so looking at this, we've got two sphere objects in here, which are our emitters in Flow. And the primary one, which is the icing going around the edge, is attached to a null. That one's rotating 360 degrees over 250 frames and then turning off. But we also have a modifier on this. And we can see it in the graph editor. So let's grab the graph editor. And it is a modifier called oscillator, which basically tells the rotation on the pitch channel to follow a wave over the course of 1 second and then repeat with a wave size of 2.5 degrees. And it'll effectively give me that up and down motion on that null, which is, of course, got the child object, which is the emitter, and give us this shape. And then shut the emitter off with a envelope. Let's go and add that item. Bring the fluid off at approximately 250 frames. So it's still on at 248, and then it shuts off at 251 completely. So now we get rid of that problem that we're having with it just being the cake rotating. Now, don't worry about me going past 250. This is just a different bake, and there are objects in that directory that I've let run through to about 300 or 400 frames before. So don't worry about that. Now, what if you want to change the colors of these so that they're independent? So you got one that's purple like this and another one that's green. Well, you can do that, but it's a little bit more tricky. So we'll get into that now. Let's say we want to do the cake first. All right, so icing on the outside. We'll bake that one first. So we're going to go to the preferences folder, and we're going to go and change the output folder for this. And I'm going to call it edge decoration. Okay. Cake decoration. And we're going to go and turn off the heart emitter. So we're going to hit none. Okay. So let's reset this. And while I'm overwrite, I'm going to actually delete the folder. So when we run this, we're going to run. Okay, so we got fluid generating, so we know it's going to work. Let's go to bake, then hit run. We're going to get that warning to pop up, and we're going to go and delete everything that's in there. Okay, and we're going to hit OK. We'll let it run to about 260 frames just to make sure that we've got everything clear. Right. Almost done. Okay, and let the fluid settle right around there, and we'll hit pause. There we go. Okay, so now that we've got that done, we're going to disable this now. Go to physics. We could turn this one off. We're going to turn this one back on. We go to the preferences folder and change this again. So we're going to call this, make new folder. We'll call this heart. Okay. Go to the front of the scene, go to the surface editor. Let's change the color for this. So instead of that, we'll make it a nice kind of Valentine's Day red. Okay. And we'll call this base name, just to distinguish it, and call heart. All right. So we'll reset that and we'll hit run. And there's nothing in there, so it should be good. So we can just hit OK. Oh, we've got the wrong squirt gun with the wrong setting here. So let's go reset. And this squirt gun, squirt 2, this needs to be 10,000 or more. And we'll go, let's say this is, I think, 7. So we'll reset it. We'll let it run. It should have a envelope on it, but it seems to have disappeared. So let's go fix that. Frame 270. So we'll go 170, it's still on. Then 174, let's go 171. Returning should be off at that point. Oops. Let's make sure we got the right settings here. 174, 0, and this one be 100%. Let's take these curves up, boom, just so they're kind of more on off. You can also use a step curve there, that'll work just fine. So let's do this one more time. Reset, run it. Let it draw itself out. Get a nice heart in there. Turn off 175. There we go. A little lobby at the end there, but that's fine. We've got enough to demonstrate what's going on. Now that we've got that generated, we can basically turn flow off. Okay, so let's go to the utilities, master plugins. Let's turn flow off completely. All right, and now we should effectively be able to take the fluid mesh holder, this icing master, this here, and just completely blow all that away. And I'm also, just for safety's sake, going to clear all selected. So we should really just be left with the cake. And we can probably remove this as well, so we can remove it. So it's basically gone. All right, I can get rid of the other sphere. So we've got just basically the flat blocks and the cake. And now it comes time to load in our object sequence for each mesh. So let's go to the start of the shot. Let's go load object. Okay, so this is the heart. Let's go with the heart first. Okay, and we'll hit P for properties, bring up the object replacement list, and then let's just go and choose object sequencer. It'll say none at the moment until we update, and then it will start drawing things out. This is just the same as doing an OBJ object sequence like you would do before. It really should say the number there, but that's okay. If you need frame offset, so you want to start this later, you can. Let's go and load the other one. Okay, same operation. Basically, we want to make sure that they were doing an object replacement sequencer. Bump. And now we've got purple with a red heart. And away you go. Now, keep in mind, if you want to change these textures at any point in time, you'd have to either go back to Lightwave Flow or use a Lightwave Pro Tools tool that will allow you to resequence the mesh by opening and saving each object. There is a tool that will do that. It's a Python-based tool, and it'll allow you to choose a preset file if you save one from the preset editor, and it'll go through your object sequence. But you can see that this works really well, and we don't have that problem of the two fluids kind of grabbing at each other, and we can offset them. So let's do that really quickly. So just in the properties here, let's go frame offset plus 25. Okay, and you can see that it starts to draw a little bit later. Very straightforward stuff, and take a look at it in BPR. I actually had some material applied to my cake. One of these cakes that you get at Cheesecake Factory, one of those birthday cake things. They're fantastic. So there you go. Cake decoration with Lightwave Flow. We'll have more videos like this in the series. Stay tuned, and we'll catch you on the flip side.